And maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. Maybe there's some striking that I missed. Maybe I had one too many shots of Howlerhead whiskey. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I had Jared Gordon winning the fight 2 rounds to 1 at most. What a fucking event. That is what I've got to say about this. What is going on, YouTube? This is the Kevin Hoop Show, and I just watched some crazy shit happen at UFC 282. We had Paddy Pimblett win an absolute rigged fight, in my opinion. I'm not saying it was rigged from the start, but I'm saying officially when that shit goes to the judges, if the UFC has a money fighter or someone that they think is going to get them more money later in the future in big fights, then if it goes to decision, that fighter's going to get the win. It's that simple. I don't agree with it, but that just seems like the way the UFC's going now. And I don't really like it because it seems to be very similar to fucking boxing, and we all see where that shit. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about the fight with Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon, where Paddy Pimblett somehow got the fucking win. And I'm talking about, this is someone who is a big Paddy Pimblett fan. Jared Gordon came out fucking guns ablaze in this fight. He did not want to lose or quit. Now, I looked at the fight after it happened, right after the decision went to Paddy. It said Jared Gordon had more significant strikes than Paddy Pimblett. And now it says that Paddy Pimblett has 63 significant strikes and Jared Gordon has 58. I don't know if you guys know numbers, but 63 is higher than 58. At the same time, it was the same thing with the total strikes. And I think the similar thing happened in the O'Malley fight. I'm not coming out with conspiracies, but I'm saying the UFC is changing some shit when it comes to these money fighters and prize fighters that they have, like Paddy Pimblett and Sean O'Malley. And when the fight's close and it goes to a decision, if they can, they're going to get their prize fighter to win. Not to mention, how are we not talking about 3 judges scoring this card for Paddy Pimblett? 3! Not one judge had the score going for Jared Gordon, who again had more ground control and at the end of the fight had more significant strikes, which in the Sean O'Malley fight is what you needed to win the fight. It was, all right, if it goes to a decision, if you have more significant strikes and less ground control, then you're going to win the fight. Jared Gordon had more in both. And then at the end, after the whole entire main event happens with Magomed Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz, I'm looking at the stats, and they're changed. They are not what they were at the end of the fight. I do not see how people are not going to say how this fight was now rigged. I think 100% it should have went to Jared Gordon. Not just because of the ground game, but because Paddy Pimblett was not pushing the fight. And maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. Maybe there's some striking that I missed. Maybe I had one too many shots of Howlerhead whiskey. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I had Jared Gordon winning the fight 2 rounds to 1 at most. 1 at most. How does Paddy Pimblett win that fight? I go on Twitter right after the fight happens, right before the decision is even said, right before Bruce Buffer says the decision. 7 seconds after the actual 5-minute counter stops, I go on Twitter. Everyone's saying it should go to Gordon. Everyone's saying, oh my gosh, finally, Paddy the Baddy loses. It's crazy. It's like Jake Paul lost. And next thing you know, the decision goes to Paddy Pimblett. And Twitter is exactly like it was with Sean O'Malley. What are we talking about? It's as crazy as the Magomed Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz fight. I genuinely think these judges were like, we fucked up in the Paddy one, and, you know, we're going to end up fucking up whoever we go with if we go with a winner here. So let's just go with a draw. Let's just go with a draw. Showing me that they completely know that they fucked up in that first fight. At least the Paddy and Jared Gordon one, I would have been more comfortable seeing that go to a draw. How does the Magomed Ankalaev Jan Blachowicz fight not go to Magomed Ankalaev? The dude was walking off in tears. Someone who is a cold-hearted killer, walking off in tears. It was something that made me want to cry. Freaking walking off like that in tears. The judges are completely stripping people of their wins, and I'm tired of seeing it. I talked about it just a month ago in November. If you don't remember me talking about the Sean O'Malley Peter Yan fight, it's freaking trash. These judges need to freaking change. The judging in general needs to change. The scoring system in the UFC, whatever the fuck it is right now, needs to change. I saw Jared Gordon come into this fight thinking he might be that guy to shut up the person with all the fans, the person with all the hype and momentum behind them. And no, it was stripped from him. If you even go into the first, second, and third round and really dissect them, look at the second round. Look how gassed Paddy Pimblett looks in the beginning of the second round. He had everything in his gas tank emptied in the end of that first round, and Jared Gordon took advantage of that in the second with takedowns and good strikes. He completely had ground control in the second round with Paddy Pimblett. I saw someone say Paddy Pimblett had a takedown or submission and almost got Jared. No, Jared almost got Paddy. And if there was more time, Paddy would probably be more gassed in the third if Jared had more time on the ground with Paddy. I don't care what anyone says. I think that fight should have went to Jared Gordon hands down. Freaking need to go to some therapy sessions or anger management sessions after the reaction to this fight. I genuinely do not know what the judges were smoking in order for them to think it was a Paddy Pimblett win. Again, it should have been at least a draw. At least a draw. I would have been happier seeing it a draw than a Paddy Pimblett win. And that's nothing against Paddy Pimblett. He's a great fighter. I just do not think the weight cut going up to 205 all the time and then coming down to 155 is a good idea anymore. I do not think that he should be constantly going up and down in these weight classes, or at least up in weight when he's not fighting. He didn't bring any actual action in the third round, and he could have. All that Jared Gordon was doing was putting his weight on him against the fence. Jared Gordon was pretty tired in the third round as well. But Paddy could have brought more action. He always talks about bringing the action, and he did not do that this fight. He could have in the third more than the first two, in my opinion, and he didn't. Showing to me Jared Gordon had beaten him. He had defeated him. He had worn out his gas tank and won the fight. Now, how does somebody like that end up losing the fight? How does somebody like Paddy Pimblett, who was gassed in the third round, not bringing any action, somehow win? Barely connecting on strikes. Again, if you look at it now after the fights happened, it's telling me Paddy Pimblett had more significant strikes. I want you to go back and count each strike one by one in the fight. I'm telling you, Jared Gordon had more. Now, that's not to say anything wrong against Paddy Pimblett. Again, I think he's a great fighter. I think this fight was performance of the night. It was fight of the night, 100% hands down. These two brought it in the first two rounds. They were going back and forth. It was exciting. It was action-packed. It was something that we've been waiting for. It was something that Paddy Pimblett fans have been waiting for from Paddy Pimblett all fucking week. And we get this from Paddy Pimblett and something amazing from Jared Gordon, and you're going to strip him of that story. It's something crazy to me. It's something I think is unjust. It's not right. Jared Gordon deserved that win hands down. And I'm tired of these prize fighters just because they have a following getting the win in a decision. Jared Gordon should have got the rear naked choke when he had the submission going in. He should have tried to get it more. It might have ended because of time, but either way, he should have tried to get the submission in when he had it. He should have tried to get a knockdown or a knockout when he had the chance while standing up on the feet. Same thing for Paddy Pimblett. Same thing for when it comes to more significant strikes and more strikes thrown, which again, I think Jared Gordon had more. I watched the fight. I saw Jared Gordon hitting Paddy Pimblett with more significant strikes, having Paddy Pimblett stunned and wobbled and in a bad spot in the fight. Something we have not seen Paddy Pimblett in. And how did he respond to it? Not well. Not well. What happens when Paddy Pimblett faces a top 10 guy? What happens? It's not going to be well for you, Paddy Pimblett folks, Paddy Pimblett fans. I'm Kevin Hoops. I'm pissed off, and I hope you have a good rest of your fucking week. Rewatch that fight too, because I'm telling you, Jared Gordon all fucking day.